Hello, Shabbat Tov, and welcome to today's edition of Daf Yomi, Daf 3, Omid B of Berkorot. Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan said. Afilim Kal, even if only a slight blemish, would result from the removal of the portion of the animal owned by the Gentile. The animal does not have firstborn status. And in addition, Rabbi Yochanan also commented on that which we learned in the Mishnah 16b, and you that gave birth to a goat of sorts. V'hadisnan rachav sheyalda me'etz, ve'etz sheyalda min rachel, petura min habechora. And you that gave birth to a goat of sorts. What does that mean? If you gave birth to a goat of sorts, or a goat gave birth to an ewe of sorts, it does not have firstborn status. If it has certain characteristics of its mother, it is still considered firstborn. But one possessing a permanent blemish, an unusual appearance is the greatest type of blemish possible. This ruling according to the Mishnah and the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, Berkorot 2:6. And a goat that gave birth to an ewe of sorts are exempt from the midst of the firstborn, and if the offspring has some of the characteristics of its mother, it is obligated. So what does that mean? The reason a goat that was born to an ewe is not deemed firstborn is that firstborn status applied only to a sheep that was born to a sheep, and this offspring is not considered a sheep in 5b. If it has some characteristic of the mother, then it is considered to be a sheep that was born to a sheep, but it is blemished, i.e. subject to the obligations of firstborn status. Rabbi Yochanan commented, nevertheless, it may not be sacrificed on the altar because this is a permanent blemish. Therefore, a priest is permitted to slaughter it outside of the temple. The Gemara asks, Bishlama Mumkal, granted that if Rabbi Yochanan's first statement that an animal does not have firstborn status, even has a slight blemish, is necessary, as he teaches us that he holds in accordance to the opinion of Rav Huna, who said previously in 2b, that even if the Gentile owns only the heir of the firstborn, it does not have firstborn status, and this statement is to the exclusion of the opinion of Rav Chesed Rava, who said that the Gentile must own a portion of the fetus that would render it a carcass or a treifa if it were removed. But with regard to Rabbi Yochanan's second statement that a goat of sorts that was born to you but has some characteristics of the mother is considered to have a permanent blemish, what is it teaching us? It is teaching that since it looks different from the normal appearance of a sheep, this appearance is considered a blemish. We already learned this in the Mishnah in 48, or with regard to a lamb whose mouth is similar to that of a pig. That is a blemish that enables slaughter of the firstborn. And if you would say that there, where the animal's mouth is similar to that of a pig, in its appearance was altered into being in whose species there is no sanctity of the firstborn, while here where it looks like a goat, its appearance was altered into a being in whose species there is sanctity of the firstborn. And Rabbi Yochanan teaches that this animal too is considered to be blemished. We already learned this too in the subsequent Mishnah in 40b. An animal with one of its eyes large and one small is also considered blemished. One of the types of blemishes that is unique to animals where one eye is as large as that of a calf, while the second is as small as that of a goose. That's in the Rambam Sefer Hilchot Isurei Mizbeach 2:2. Eina achas gedona v'achas katana. Various factors such as genes, illnesses, or exposure to hazardous material may cause an animal to have smaller eyes than that is usual for animals. These factors may lead to an asymmetry between the two eyes. Likewise, some illnesses may cause the eye to appear larger than average. For instance, certain types of cancer located in close proximity to the eye cause it to bulge out and appear much larger than usual. And it is also considered blemished. And the Tana taught in explanation of the Mishnah, a large eye is referring to one as large as that of a calf, and a small eye is referring to one as small as that of a goose. Granted, in the case of an eye as small as that of a goose, The reason it is considered a blemish is that there is no sanctity of the firstborn among the species, i.e. that of a bird. But in the case of an eye that is as large as that of a calf, there is sanctity of a firstborn among the species. In contrast to the average diameter of the eye of a sheep, which is approximately 24 millimeters, the average diameter of the eye of a goose is approximately 12 millimeters, while that of a calf is 32 millimeters. Rather, it is not considered blemish because we say that since it has changed from the appearance of a sheep, it is considered blemish. Therefore, Rabbi Yochanan's statement has still not introduced any novelty. The Gemara responds, no. An eye is as large as that of a calf. It's considered a blemish because the animal is one that has a limb that is too large, a sarua. What does that mean? The Satan has a tradition that the word sarua in the Torah, see Leviticus 20:20, refers to an animal whose thigh was dislocated, and that is how its leg became larger than usual. See 40a and Tos Karonim on the verse. Rashi in a number of locations explains that it refers to a case where one of the limbs is larger than the other. In the Torah as one of the blemished animals, in Leviticus 22:23, the Gemara comments, this too stands to reason, as we learn in the Mishnah 43a, concerning these blemishes that were taught with regard to an animal, whether they are permanent or transient. They also disqualify a priest from performing the temple service. And the subsequent Mishnah 44a adds, beyond those are additional blemishes that apply exclusively to a person, i.e. a priest, if both his eyes are large and both of them are small. A priest's eyes are as large as those of a calf or as small as those of a goat is considered to be blemished and disqualified by temple service. And that's in Rama Sefer Bod Hilchot Beit HaMikdash 8:6. The reason for the Lassa Halacha is that it is with regard to a person that it is written, any man from the offspring of Aaron, Leviticus 22:4, which indicates that we require a man who is equal to the seed of Aaron, i.e. has an ordinary appearance like other priests. With regard to an animal, if both eyes are big or both eyes are small, it is not a blemish. Accordingly, if one's animal's eyes is big and one is small, what is the reason that is considered a blemish? If it is due to the deviation appearance, meaning that it does not look like a sheep, then even if both eyes are big or both eyes are small, it should be considered a blemish. Rather, it is not because it is an animal with a limb that is too large. The Gemara responds, no. Actually, I will say to you that the reason an animal with one big eye and one small eye is considered blemished is because of its deviation, as a deviation is considered a blemish. And as for that which is difficult for you, that if it is due to an anomalous appearance, that even if both are big or both are small, it should be considered a blemish, there it is not considered a deviation. This is because a particularly healthy animal has large eyes, while a particularly weak animal has small eyes. Therefore, only an animal with one large eye and with one small eye is considered to be blemished. As if the large eye is due to an extreme health, both should have been healthy. And if the small eye is due to extreme weakness, both should have been weak. So what does that mean? Mechamas kechishusa. The eyes of the weakened animal will appear smaller than those of a healthy animal. In certain illnesses, the eyes may appear sunken as a result of dehydration, and in other illnesses, the fat behind the eye socket may contract and cause the eye to appear small because it rests deeper in the socket. In connection with the dispute between Rabbi Yehuda and the rabbis, whether an animal owned in partnership with a Gentile has firstborn status, the Gemara relates the following incident. There was a certain female convert, conversion to Judaism was not a widespread phenomenon in Babylonia, and it appears in Persian monarchy also did not look kindly upon conversion to Judaism. Nevertheless, during the rule of King Shapur II, which was the time in which the Amor Rava lived, there appeared to have been more instances of conversion to Judaism than in other periods, with most of them, including the incident cited in the Gemara here, occurring in Mahosa, where Baba lived. It is possible that the reason was for the larger percentage of conversions at that time due to the favorable relations that existed between King Shapur II and the Jewish community in Babylonia. The Gentile brothers would give her animals to fatten and would divide the profits with her. She came before Rabbi to ask whether the firstborn status applies to the firstborn of these animals. Rabbi said to her, there is no one who is concerned with this ruling of Rabbi Yehuda, who says that an animal in partnership with the Gentile is obligated, i.e. subject to counting its first offspring a firstborn. He relates another incident. Rav Mari Bar Rachel was a fortune in Babylonian Amora. It appears that he was the son of a Gentile named Isur, who married or kidnapped the daughter of the great Amor Shmuel. Isur later converted and became a widely respected figure in the Jewish community. Since he was converted during the period that Rav Mari's mother was expecting, he was not considered to be Rav Mari's father halachically, as the status of the father is determined at the time of conception, and the Gentile father is not deemed the halachic father to a Jewish baby. Therefore, Rav Mari is referred to by the name of his esteemed mother Rachel instead. Rav Mari was a notorious scholar and pious in all his actions. Rav Mari taught Torah and maintained close personal and business ties with Rava, who prepared him to serve as one of the spiritual leaders in Babylonia. Rav Mari had two sons, Mar Zutra and Rav Adar Saba, both of whom were prominent Torah scholars. Interestingly, many scholars and even the Talmud itself are uncertain whether there was one person with the name Rav Mari Bar Rachel or two people with the same name. And a certain flock of animals, he would transfer ownership of the ears. In times where there was no temple, it's a mitzvah for a Jew to partner with a Gentile in order to exempt his firstborn animals from the obligation of firstborn status. Although the Jewish partner abrogated something in the process, it is preferable as it will prevent any mishaps of others that benefit from sharing it or performing labor with it. If the Gentile acquires a portion of the fetus itself, this action is not valid, as it is deemed an entity that has not yet come into the world. Therefore, the Jew should instead transfer ownership of a portion of the mother to the Gentile. Shulchan Aruch Yoredeya 326, and see the comment of the Manashach there. For the firstborn fetus to a Gentile, in order to exempt them from the obligation of the firstborn status, but nevertheless, he prohibited them from being shared and used for labor, and gave them to the priest halachot that applied to a firstborn animal, and ultimately animals of Rav Mari Bar Rachel died. The Gemara answers, but since he prohibited from them being shared and used for labor, and he also gave them to the priest, why did he initially transfer ownership of their ears to the Gentile, abrogating the firstborn status? The Gemara answers that he did so lest the priest come to experience a mishap with them, improperly sharing them or using them for labor. The Gemara asks, if so, what is the reason that the animals of Rav Mari died as a punishment? More answers, it was because he abrogated their sanctity by selling their ears. This is understandable according to the opinion that the Mishnah prohibits selling a fetus that belongs to a Gentile for this reason, see 2a. According to this opinion, after this explanation given, according to which Rav Mari did act appropriately, follows the opinion that the prohibition in the Mishnah is due to the concern that forbidden labor will perform the Shabbat. He also tells us to Rabbeinu Tam, who explained that the problem with Mari's actions was that his method of abrogating sanctity of the firstborn from the fetus was performed by transferring a part of the fetus itself. If he had sold the ear of the mother instead, he would not have been punished for it. And the Gemara asks, but doesn't Rabbi Yehuda say it's permitted for a person to inflict a blemish on a firstborn animal fetus from before it emerges into the air of the world? And the reason for this is that so the priest can eat it immediately after its birth, as while it is still complete and has sanctity on the altar, it's forbidden for a priest to consume it. Since an animal is not sacrificed with firstborn status until it is born, the act is not included in the prohibition against inflicting a blemish on the offering. It's permitted to inflict a blemish on the firstborn animal before leaving its mother's womb, because in any event it ultimately be permitted for consumption once it developed a blemish. From the ruling of Rabbi Yehuda, during the time when the temple was standing, this is forbidden. said, Korban Berkorot 2:14, Shochet Yodeya 313:7. When the birthing process for an animal commences and the mother's cervix opens, one can easily reach a hand to the womb and inflict a blemish on the animal's ear or lip. See 35a. Here too, Mary abrogated his fifth and was sanctified by selling their ears before their birth. The Gemara answers, there when one inflicts a blemish on the firstborn animal, he abrogates the animal sanctity of the altar, and it is no longer fit for an offering. But he does not abrogate the sanctity of the priest, and it is still given to a priest. Here, by contrast, when Rav Mari sold animals ears to a Gentile, he abrogated even the sanctity of the priest, but the partnership exempts the animals from the obligation of the firstborn status entirely. We say instead that the reason the animals of Rav Mari Berkorot died is that he himself knew that it was necessary to transfer ownership of the ears of the fetus to the Gentile through a complete transaction, and another person would see him transferring ownership of the ears to a Gentile and would go and do it himself but not perform a complete transaction, and would think that Mary performed the same matter in abrogating his firstborn status, and would come to experience a mishap with his animal by not treating it with sanctity of the firstborn status. Due to his concern that Mary should not have transferred ownership of the ears to a Gentile, and consequently his animals died. Priests and Levites are exempt from the obligation to redeem a firstborn donkey. The mitzvah to redeem a firstborn donkey does not apply to a donkey that is owned by a priest or a Levite. There is a rhyme Berkorot 12:14. This is derived from 40 influence. In the wilderness, the firstborn were redeemed in exchange for the Levites, as it is stated, take the Levites in exchange for all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the animal of the Levites in exchange for the animals. Numbers 45. If the priests and Levites rendered exempt the firstborn children and donkeys of the Israelites in the wilderness from being counted firstborn, it's only logical that the priests and the Levites should render the firstborn of their own donkeys exempt being counted firstborn. That's the end of the Omen. Thank you for listening, and I wish you a good week. Take care. Bye.